Welcome to Seasonal Celebrations. This is number 1 of a 4-part series where we will explore cultural traditions from around the world that celebrate certain times of the year. We will also learn about why the seasons are. We will learn about how the tilt of the Earth's axis affects the climate and weather patterns across the globe, and how people have used the position of the sun as it appears in our sky to know when to celebrate. There are 4 seasons that make up the year. A year is the amount of time it takes the planet Earth to revolve around the sun. The Earth tilts and turns on its axis in relation to the sun. The top and bottom of the axis are the north and south poles. That tilt changes in relation to the sun throughout the year. This is what makes the seasons. In the summer, the North Pole is tilted toward the sun. That's why the days are long and warm in the northern half of the Earth. In the winter, the North Pole is tilted away from the sun. That is why the days are short and cold. People that live in the southern part of the Earth experience the opposite season from those that live in the northern half of the Earth. These halves of the Earth are called the hemispheres. The people that populate those hemispheres have a lot of things in common. They have families and friends, like to play and learn, and most importantly, people like to celebrate. They especially like to celebrate in the spring. People like to celebrate spring so much that they even start before the first day. That day is called the spring equinox. Spring sometimes feels like it will never come. The dark comes early and it stays late. The chill in the air makes your nose red and you can see your breath. But then the days start to stay a little longer, and the need for artificial light becomes less. During the astrological midway point between winter solstice and spring equinox, the people that lived in the northern part of Europe, Scandinavia, and the British Isles celebrated Imbolc. It is a celebration of the goddess Bridget, a festival of purification and honoring of the virgin earth as spring dances in. Our family celebrates this time of year the way some of those ancients did. We take the used leftover candle wax from the past year and melt it with new wax to make fresh candles for the coming year. This reminds us that we are connected to our roots and ancestors in the past, and that they are the fuel that we use to light our future. They like to celebrate in China too. Tangche is the Lantern Festival. It is the official end of the New Year celebrations and the unofficial start of spring. It is a thanksgiving that the days are warmer and the sunlight is staying longer. Plants are starting to grow, and this is when the farmers know it's time to plant. The Lantern Festival is a time of beauty and light. Lanterns are hung from tree branches, high poles, and strung across paths and streets all over the countryside and in big cities alike. Children and adults make lanterns in unique and creative ways. Some look like flowers or birds, and some are painted with beautiful spring landscapes. The best part of the Lantern Festival is the parade. People dress in vibrant silk robes embroidered with shiny thread. They carry lanterns in all shapes and colors and perform in imaginative ways. The most looked forward to part of the parade is the Dance of the Dragon. People fill a long bamboo-framed serpent covered in bright paper and silk and dance around in the street, making dramatic and dragon-like movements. This is a festival of inspiration. Children know there is more time to play. This festival has been celebrated for thousands of years in China. Over 500 years ago, a man named Xin Huiji wrote a poem about the Lantern Festival. An easterly breeze prompts 1,000 trees to bloom at night. It also blows them off, which fall like a rain of stars. Carved cabs drawn by steeds leave the whole street a pleasant smell. The flute is heard in the air. A light of the jade-like lanterns are glittering. All night, the lanterns of fish and dragon keep dancing. Around the same time of year in India, people celebrate the Holi festival of color. Holi is celebrated during the harvest of wheat and mustard in late February or early March. The night before Holi is Holika, when large pyres are burned in remembrance of the devotion of Prahlad to the god Vishnu. Children play tricks and throw whatever they can find into the fires to cause mischief. The next morning is Holi, when children and adults of all castes fill the streets with clouds and splashes of brightly colored powder and paint. You can throw it at anyone, friends, enemies, your grandparents, or even the mayor. It is a celebration of the arrival of spring and the triumph of good over evil. The throwing of color commemorates the love story between Radha and Krishna, the Hindu god. It's a time of love, a time of purification, a time of new starts. It's a time to remember that we are connected to the earth and her seasons. Holi has inspired traditional poems that are given as gifts on pretty cards or told to children to express the importance of love in the Holi festival. Here's an excerpt from one of those poems by an unknown author. The trees smile with their sprout of tender leaves and blooming flowers. Eternal nature with its transient expression hails spring with ecstasy and joy. Bewildering shades with so many tinge. The land of beauty and greatness, India, witnessing color of happiness and peace. Nation come alive to enjoy the spirit, a celebration of color, Holi, an excitement of content, harmony, and delight. The official start of spring in the northern hemisphere is the spring equinox. It's also called the vernal equinox. The North Pole has tilted closer to the sun, making the equator directly opposite of the sun. On this day, light and dark cover the whole Earth for the same amount of time. In the southern hemisphere, this is the start of autumn. Many ancient cultures, because they followed the position of the sun in the sky, could track and plan for this day and celebrate it as a start of planting season. Many of those celebrations have changed over the millennia and centuries, but we carry on the traditions today in new forms of fun and reverence. My favorite way to celebrate spring is a flower festival. In my hometown of Winchester, in the beautiful Shenandoah Valley of Virginia, we celebrate the Apple Blossom Festival. Before pioneers made it to Washington State, Winchester was the apple capital of the world. For a whole week, spanning April and May, people come from all over to join in the festivities. People, houses, and streets alike are robed in light pastels of pink and green, just like our venerated blossom. The streets are shut down to cars for days, and extended families wander the historic streets of red brick that match the equally old Revolutionary-era buildings, some of which still sport cannonballs from the Civil War. Homes are open to all for drinks and light snacks, catching up from the last year and talking about what you are putting in your garden next week. Everyone in Shenandoah knows it's too rainy to plant before the parade. Fire trucks, marching bands, Aztec dancers, beauty queens, tractors, the colorful floats, they all wind through the streets of that historic city. The laughing and joy of the young and old can be heard all day and night. It's the time of year when an entire valley comes together as a community to celebrate and give thanks to the land that we love, that has fed so many for so long. Here in Washington, we have the Skagit Valley Tulip Festival. Tulips are some of the first flowers to show their face around here. They remind us that though it may be cold and the ground still hard beneath our feet, light, color, and beauty shall prevail. The Tulip Festival brings thousands of admirers from around the state, country, and world to bask in the beauty of the myriad colors painted across the vast fields. Spring is such a wonderful time for color. It reminds us that the sun is here to stay. The best thing about flowers, though, is the fact that you don't have to go to a festival far away to enjoy them. Just look in the trees or down at the ground. They are everywhere this time of year. A gift of earth to show us she cares, feeding the bees to make their honey and the birds to sing our songs. Spring seems to be the time to celebrate the end of darkness for people everywhere and in many cultures. In the Islamic world, families celebrate the end of Ramadan, a month of prayer and fasting with the holy day of Eid al-Fitr. Muslims use the month of Ramadan as a time of purification and devotion to God. They show their reverence by not taking food or drink from sunup to sundown. On the 29th day of the month, as long as the moon can be seen, the fast ends and the celebration begins. Muslim families celebrate with big feasts that include family and friends. Everyone wears their best clothes, and children steal sweets and pastries off the table when mom has turned her back. Presents and money are given as gifts, almost like Christmas. Sometimes people paint their skin with henna in interesting geometric shapes, decorations, and plants. A traditional song many Muslim children sing is called Ramadan Has Come. Wahawi ya Wahawi, Iyoha, Bintul Sultan Iyoha, Lapsa kofta niyoha, bila mad iyoha, bilas faro iyoha, bilak dari iyoha, wahawi ya wawi iyoha. Ramadan, Ramadan, Ramadan has come. The Sultan's daughter, iyoha, in a kaftan garbed, iyoha, of rose-red hue, iyoha, or in sunlight gold, iyoha, or a green so bright, iyoha. Ramadan, Ramadan, Ramadan has come. People of the Christian tradition celebrate this time of year with Easter, the festival of the morning sun. Faithful Christians fill the pews while the earth is still dark, in growing anticipation of the sunrise and the resurrection of their God, the Son of God, the Messiah, Jesus Christ. Many of the ways modern people celebrate Easter comes from Anglo-Saxon and other European cultures. The name Easter even comes from the goddess Oster, the goddess of the dawn, worshipped and celebrated in the spring to bring a good growing season and to fill the earth with life in the spring. The symbology of the bunny and the egg are universally associated with fertility and life. At our house, the Easter bunny leaves eggs filled with candy, chocolate, and little toys all over the yard for the children, dressed in their finest clothes to fill their baskets. A day in the green grass and sun after months inside hiding from the cold and rain ensures the children that warmth and fun are finally here to stay. I take with me from this tradition the teachings of Jesus, that above all else is love. Growing up Catholic, I always had my favorite hymns for the different holidays. At Easter, I could feel the love of everyone around me and the spirit of peace when we would all chant in Latin. Dona nobis pacem, pacem, dona nobis 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 pacem. Give us peace. Wesak is a very special day for the people of the world that practice and observe the teaching of the Buddha. It is celebrated on the day of the May full moon. It is the most important festival in the Buddhist calendar. It is said that all the most important things that ever happened to the Buddha, whose name was Siddhartha, all happened on this day. His birth, enlightenment, and even his death. On this day, homes and temples are cleaned and decorated with candles, flowers, and garland. Some people send their friends cards with special intentions of love and friendship. Sacred scriptures are read by the monks as they receive gifts and alms from the faithful. In Thailand, there is a parade where painted elephants are led down the streets. It is again a time for love and renewal of devotion to our faith, to each other, and to the earth. The Buddha taught that love, above all things, is the most important. Children celebrate by reading and listening to the scriptures, and doing arts and crafts like cutting out and painting lotus flowers and elephants. All of these celebrations are so special. They give us an opportunity to connect with the earth and all of its creatures. Through celebration and festivity, we are reminded that we are more than just ourselves. Celebrations are like a birthday cake. They take lots of ingredients. The land to which we are connected, the people around us that we love, the moon, sun, and stars tell us what day to party. We celebrate when we plant. We celebrate when we harvest. We celebrate the earth and the sun and the moon and the stars. Celebrations make us one family. They connect us in a web of joy and happiness across the globe. I think learning about and even celebrating these special days and seasons is how we can move forward as a one-world family. Different, but the same. The great Martin Luther King Jr. may have said it best. We have inherited a large house, a great world house, in which we live together, black and white, Easterner and Westerner, Gentile and Jew, Catholic and Protestant, Muslim and Hindu. A family unduly separated in ideas, culture, and interest, who, because we can never again live apart, must learn somehow to live with each other in peace. In our next episode, we will explore our place in the universe during the summer and how the world family celebrates this time of year. This has been Seasonal Celebrations, Spring. I am Sean Milam. Thank you for listening.